वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा।
सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामनरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धि भवतु मे सदा।
गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरा गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि। ॐ गं गणपतये नमो नमः श्रीसिद्धिविनायक नमो नमः अष्टविनायक नमो नमः गणपति बप्पा मोरया।
गं गणपतये नमो नमः सिद्धिविनायक नमो नमः अष्टविनायक नमो नमः गणपति बप्पा मोरया।
गं गणपतये नमो नमः
गणपति गणेश को, गणपति गणेश को, उमापति महेश को मेरा ही प्रणाम है, मेरा ही प्रणाम है। गणपति गणेश को, गणपति गणेश को, उमापति महेश को मेरा ही प्रणाम है, मेरा ही प्रणाम है। शंकर भोले बाबा को, शंकर भोले बाबा को, डमरू बजाने वाले को मेरा ही प्रणाम है, मेरा ही प्रणाम है।
शंकर भोले बाबा को, शंकर भोले बाबा को, डमरू बजाने वाले को मेरा ही प्रणाम है, मेरा ही प्रणाम है।
गणपति गणेश को, गणपति गणेश को, उमापति महेश को मेरा ही प्रणाम है, मेरा ही प्रणाम है।
गणपति गणेश को, गणपति गणेश को, उमापति महेश को मेरा ही प्रणाम है, मेरा ही प्रणाम है।
सियापति राम को, सियापति राम को, राधा जी के श्याम को मेरा ही प्रणाम है, मेरा ही प्रणाम है।
सियापति राम को, सियापति राम को, राधा जी के नाम को मेरा ही प्रणाम है, मेरा ही प्रणाम है।
गणपति गणेश को, गणपति गणेश को, उमापति महेश को मेरा ही प्रणाम है, मेरा ही प्रणाम है।
गणपति गणेश को, गणपति गणेश को, उमापति महेश को मेरा ही प्रणाम है, मेरा ही प्रणाम है।
अंजनी के पुत्र को, अंजनी के पुत्र को, राम जी के पुत्र को मेरा ही प्रणाम है, मेरा ही प्रणाम है।
अंजनी के पुत्र को, अंजनी के पुत्र को, राम जी के दूत को मेरा ही प्रणाम है, मेरा ही प्रणाम है।
हरे रामा, हरे रामा, हरे रामा, हरे रामा,
हरे रामा, हरे रामा, राम राम, हरे हरे।
हरे रामा, हरे रामा, हरे रामा, हरे हरे।
हरे रामा, हरे रामा, राम राम, हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा, कृष्णा कृष्णा, 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 हरे हरे।
हरे राम, राम राम, हरे हरे।
हरे राम, राम हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा, कृष्णा कृष्णा, हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा, कृष्णा कृष्णा, हरे हरे।
हरे राम, राम राम, हरे हरे।
हरे राम, राम हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा, कृष्णा कृष्णा, हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा, कृष्णा कृष्णा, हरे हरे।
हरे राम, हरे राम, हरे राम, हरे राम।
हरे राम, राम राम, हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा, कृष्णा कृष्णा, हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्णा, कृष्णा कृष्णा, हरे हरे।
प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की। प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की जय। Devotees and friends, Sitaram to one and all, and welcome to this evening session, and it is our fourth session as we pay obeisances and we give our thanks to Bhagwan Ganesh. What he so dictates, my dear friends, is for us to change our present, create our future, and everything that happens into our lives, no matter how difficult it may be for us to come to terms with, know that there will be a bright ending, always. But because we allow ourselves to be saturated into those difficult moments, when the bright and the illumined part comes, because we have darkened our minds so much, we cannot recognize God's gifts to us. Children of God, this evening, put your hand together, close the physical eyes, as we concentrate and meditate upon that Divine Master, asking for guidance and protection. We all pray. Om Gajananam Bhutaganadesevitam Kapita Jambu Palisar Bhakshanam Uma Sutam Shoka Vinashikarakam Namami Viganeshwar Parapankajam Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Saraswati Rupena Sanskritam Namastasye 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 Namo Namaha Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaram Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Nagindraharam Trilochanaya Bhashmangragaya Maheshwaraya Nidhyaya Shudaya Ligam Maraya Tasmai Nakaraya Namah Shivaya Om Anjani Garbhasan Mukho Vayu Putro Mahabal Kumaro Brahmachari Cham Hanuman Me Prasidha Me Om Bhurbhuvasva Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayam Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Vidyam Karvavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahe Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की
जय।
स्वागतम श्री गणेश शरणम गतम श्री गणेश स्वागतम श्री गणेश शरणम गतम स्वागतम श्री गणेश शरणम Sri Ganesh, Sharanam Gatam Sri Ganesh,
Swagatam Sri Ganesh, Sharanam Gatam Sri Ganesh,
Swagatam Sri Ganesh,
Sharanam Gatam Sri Ganesh.
Ganesha Bhagwan ki jai. This evening, my dear friends, I call Dinesh now to give you a welcome, and then I commence my katha.
Sitaram to each and every one of you. On behalf of our spiritual leaders, Pandit Vishnu Ram Sumir and Pandit Jai, the executive, and every member of Dharam Ki Awaj, let me take this opportunity to welcome each and every one of you here to our fourth night of devotion in our 2022 Ganesh Utsav celebrations. We are so happy to see that the mandir is basically packed. We have been given this opportunity to graciously worship Lord Ganesha, and I am glad that you all see it fit to grasp this opportunity with both hands. Dharam Ki Awaj is an organization that encourages devotion through participation. We don't just want you to come and sit. We want you to come sit, clap, do devotion with us, and enjoy and take in the message that Pandit gives. Lord Ganesh is the remover of obstacles. So as we sit in devotion tonight, I ask each and every one of you, and I'm sure Baba's message will have something to deal with it. Let us remove all negative qualities, all ego, all abhiman, everything negative from our hearts, our minds. Open your hearts. Let Lord Ganesh be there present so that you can take his blessings when you leave here tonight. I don't want to stay too long, right? So again, welcome to all new persons. We say welcome, and we hope to see you here again. Thank you.
Prem se bole Sri Ganesha Bhagwan ki jai. So Dinesh, to a lot of you, you would be new to Dinesh because Dinesh is new. But all of you know that you are old to Pandit Vishnu. So Dinesh, this is just an iota of the people who is around Pandit Vishnu and this group. Prem se bole Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan ki. And my dear friends, I must say that my heart overflows with joy to see that you all are here to join in this 2022 Ganesh Utsav celebration. Today I want to recognize manager from Abel. I think his name is Mr. Ram Narayan. If I say it wrong, please forgive me, because Munir just hint me the name because I asked the name, and I want to be very thankful to him and his company, because all the years these clay that we take to make the murtis come from that company. And my dear friends, one thing I always write in the letter is that the clay, the quality of clay which comes from that company, from that area, helps us to create what we have here. And Mr. Ramnarayan, you can see what the clay have done with the hands of Mr. Shankar from Imperial Road, Felicity, for us here to follow. So my dear friends, we now commence our katha, and we all put our hands together and we pray again. Chanting this 12 names of Sri Ganesh removes obstacles from our path. Om समूकश्च एकदन्तश्च कपिलो गाजकर्णाकाम् लम्बोदरस्य च विकटो विघ्नाशो गणपतये नमः। ओम धूम्रकेतु गणायक्षो बालचंद्रो गाज्यानः द्वादशतनी नमामि यत्सृणुदयापि वेद्यारम्भे विवाहे च प्रवेशे निर्गमे तथा संग्रमे संकटे चैवां विघ्नामतस्य न जायते। ओम गजाननं भूतगणादिसेवितम् कपेतजम्बूफलसारभक्षणम् उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारकं नमामि विघ्नेश्वर पारपङ्कजम्। ॐ एकदन्ताय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो दन्ती प्रचोदयात्। ॐ गं गणपति नमः। Everybody chant. Om Gam Ganapati Namaha. Om Gam Ganapati Namaha. Om Sri Ganesh Bhagwan ki. And that beach letter, that beach word Gam, is where you are instructing Ganesh Bhagwan to come very quickly to you. I have explained this on the first night, but I know a few of you probably have missed it, so I just reiterate that word Gam is very important, where that is the word where you ask of the Lord. You instruct him to come very quickly and assist you. We now commence our katha. Again, we continue from last night, that wonderful katha, where we are showing, my dear friends, that all that is happening to us today is because of our past actions, our past karma. And if we want to live in that same mode, then you continue doing the actions just as you did it in the past. But if you want to change, and if you want a better future for yourself, then talk to your guru and ask how you transform your present happenings to create that future for you. We have seen last night where we talked about this child, this child that was not well, this child who was blind, dumb and deaf, touch. And my dear friends, we saw how the father put out the mother because after so many times the child could not get well. And the mother went into the forest. And there, my dear friends, in the Shiva ashram, when the great saint came back, Murkala, and just the vibration of that sage Murkala was able to cure that child. And so, my dear friends, the mother who was very disturbed with her husband for putting her out, all that hate in her heart suddenly disappeared. And why it disappeared? She then only realized that if her husband did not put out her and the child, she would not have been able to meet with sage Murkala, and the child would have never been cured. So, my dear friends, the last night's message was that great message that no matter if someone inflict upon you some sort of action that you believe is not correct, do not put aside that person. Do not give them hate. Look for what is the bright and the ending portion of that same action. Prem Sabali Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki Jai. Om Sri Ganesha Bhagwan ki Jai. So we start now again our katha for today. Everybody chant. Jai Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh. श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान। महर्षि विश्वामित्र बोले, हे राजन इससे वैश्य पुत्रम, हरिओम भलाला का मन सिखा पीढ़ा हुई। उसने पिता से हाथ जोड़कर निवेदन किया कि पिताजी, आप भले ही मुझे धन देता करे, लोकिना सर्वात आत्मा भगवान गणेश्वरम का आप मन्ना करे वे आपने भक्तों को भक्ति विद्यों का हरण करने वाले कल्याण करी देव है, उनके समान अन्य कोई बढ़ा देवा नहीं है। जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान, जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान। वैश्य ने क्रोधावेश में कहा, मूर्ख जय जय श्री गणेश, इस पत्थर को सर्व आत्मा कहता है। देखूंगा तेरा गणेश्वर तेरे विज्ञानों को किसी प्रकार दूर करता है। जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान, जय जय गणपति जय गणपति,
जय गणेश जय गणपति जय 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 गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति जय 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 गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति जय जय।
Children of God, this evening we take the katha. And remember, this katha, sage Vishwamitra is relating to King Bhim. You all remember that? So it is a discussion taking place between Vishwamitra and Raja Bhim. And he's telling to him now, what is this discussion all about? Raja Bhim, my dear friends, was disturbed. He was very sad that he did not have children. And so Raja Bhim, my dear friends, went into the forest, and there he met with that great sage Vishwamitra. And so, my dear friends, Vishwamitra told to him, he said, your sadness and you not achieving what you want in life is as a result of your action in the past. And so, my dear friends, Vishwamitra now, the great sage, is related to him. So he's relating to him now the reason why last night Katha was a reality. Why last night Katha came into being, he's now going to tell. And we will see, my dear friends, everything is because of what we do. Nobody else. Prem Sri Srinam Chandra Bhagavan Ki Jai. So devotees and friends, it tells to us here now. Vishwamitra telling to Raja Bhim, he say, hey Rajan, he says in that land of Sindhu, in the city known as Paili, he said there lived a Vaishya by the name of Kalyan. His wife was Indumati, and they were blessed with a male child by the name of Valala. The child grew up into a boy like the waxing of a moon. Very beautiful, wrong face. And so, my dear friends, due to his past karma, the son we're talking about, Valan, due to the past action, his past karma, his last birth, he had that inclination to pray to Sri Ganesh. And my dear friends, each day, Valan will take his friends and they will go to the edge of the forest. But my dear friends, their prayer would not just their play. And you know, little boys, we're talking about play. Their play used to not be the regular games of children. I went to do a puja just about 3 weeks ago, and there's a child in that home that is not 2 years just yet. But when I got up from my seat and I sit one side and talking to the family, that child went into my seat now and sit down, and she was behaving like Pandit. So is the subtle and the divine mind, the pure mind. This is how it behaves. So this boy, because of his past life, the influences of that past karma, he was inclined to worship the Sri Ganesh. And there, my dear friends, he went into the forest with his friends. And there they took a stone, a normal stone, a pathar, and they placed it there, my dear friends, and they initiate that stone as Sri Ganesh. And they started to pray to that stone as Sri Ganesh. While some were singing and dancing to Sri Ganesh, some were getting the pure water to do the abhishek. Some were getting the flowers plant to build a shelter for the Lord. And my dear friends, that happened. And days went, they continued. But one day, my dear friends, they got carried away. They got carried away in their devotion. Remember, their devotion was a play. But that play, my dear friends, brought them into the reality and the serenity of God. And so, children of God, they got carried away whole day and whole night. The children of the parents of the village was getting very, very much worried. So they knew that Kalyan's son, Valalam, was the ringleader. So all the parents end up at his house, the house of Kalyan, the father of Valan, and started to quarrel with him and want to know where your son have carried my son. And so, my dear friends, like the average father, he got angry. Well, not like us. That's why I use the word average. Because just yesterday, somebody was asking my big daughter if you ever get any licks from daddy. And she couldn't recall that. So it's not daddy does get vexed sometime. But my dear friends, just as the person who takes charge, let me say father and mother because this age tells us something different. In this age, sometimes the mother does have to be the disciplinary, you know. So my dear friends, he got angry. And with that anger now, he headed to the forest where his son was. And this is what happened. Let us listen. Jai Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganapati, Jai Jai, Jai पिता की निष्ठुरता पर क्रोध आ गया और उसने पिता को श्राप के ढला। तुमने मुझे इस निर्जन वन में अकेला की निर्धन्यता पुराण का बना कर चोरा दिया है। पल स्वरूपा तुम बहे गूंगा अंधा और विकलांग हो के। जय जय श्री गणेश, जय जय भगवान, जय श्री गणेश, जय जय भगवान। जय जय गणपति, जय गणपति, जय गणेश, हरि बोल। जय गणपति, जय गणपति, जय गणेश, जय गणपति, जय जय गणपति, जय गणपति, जय गणेश, प्रेम से बोले श्री रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। So Dinesh, son, if this was your son, what you would do? Huh? Licks. All right. Kaviraj, if this was your son, what you would do? You're angry and you meet him now, you know. You're face to face with him and all the children. Say what in your hand. Don't change it. Licks, right? Rossi, what do you think would have happened? Licks. And my dear friends, yes, anyone going with this anger, when the father reach and he meet the son, my dear friends, he start to beat this child. Real licks for this child, and blood started to drip from the child's skin. And he would not stop. Because sometimes people, my dear friends, when their child involved and they go to the parent who child is the ringleader, as they call him, the kind of words they would say. So you could imagine what they probably told Kalyan too. So when he went there, he went with a great amount of anger, rage. Till boy, Kalyan was, bleeding. And the father did not care. He tied him up, my dear friends, on a tree. And when he strapped him up, he take this stone and he pelt it away. He said, if you're Ganesh, and he break down the hut and all of that they make. He say, if your Ganesh is so good, your Ganesh will come and he will loose these straps for you. My boy, my dear friends, begged his father. He begged his father, Pitachi, do not leave me here. Help me, help me. Children of God, Father told him, he says, if this God that you worship in is such a powerful God, let him come and loose your straps. Devotees and children of God, this young man, in that pain, he's now feeling like he's going to die. He was not thinking about himself. He was thinking about how his father treated his Ganesha. He was thinking about how his father treated his Ganesha and pelt away the Ganesha. And his mind, he said, whoever be it that have treated my Ganesha like this with disrespect, May they become blind. May they become deaf. And in those days, you see, like how we have COVID now, we had that skin disease, which you call leprosy. Leper. You know, so many years we doing this kathas, and then I could still not pronounce the word, but you all know what I'm talking about. So, my dear friends, that is what ran through the boy's mind. And I want to tell to you again this evening. You will see this evening's katha. What you keep on your mind, that is what the Lord will hear. Not what you say from here, is what comes from here. That is what the Lord will hear. But my dear friend, Sri Ganesh ji turned himself into a nice little Brahmin, old Brahmin, sorry. And he came and he loosed the strap and so on, and he blessed the child. And the child was well again. But my dear friends, Ganesh Bhagwan told to him, he says, when I return now, I am going to leave here an image of you, myself. And this will be known as the Valala Ganesha. Devotees and friends, what followed? This boy, father was now heading back home. And before he could reach home, he became lame. He became blind. He could not hear. And so his skin was filled with this disease. The mother came to hear of it. She went and bring her. And so, devotees and friends, she decided now she's going to talk to her son. And let us hear what she will tell to her son. Jai Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganapati, Jai 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 Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Hari Bol. Jai Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati. Jai Sri Ganesh, Jai Jai Bhagavan. Jai Sri Ganesh, Jai Jai Bhagavan. इधर कल्याण का शरीर उसके समया से रोग ग्रहस्ता हो गया उसने दुर्गंधा आने लगी. जय श्री गणेश, जय जय भगवान. वहाँ भाल रंग गुंगा और भिखालंगा को गया. जय श्री गणेश, जय जय भगवान. ए पुत्र को देखने के लिए अरण्या में गया तो वह उसे गणेश्वर के पूजन में लाग देखा. इससे उसके मन में बड़े प्रसन्नता हुई. जय श्री गणेश, जय जय भगवान. उसने पुत्र से कहा कि पुत्रम, यहाँ तो भरा शुभा कार्य कर रहा है, परंतु तेरे पिता की धश बहुत ध्यानिया हो गई है. जय जय श्री गणेश, जय जय भगवान. उन्हें भी चला कर देकर ले भक्सा माता पिता की अज्ञान मन भी पुत्रा का परम कर्या है. जय जय श्री गणेश, जय जय भगवान. भालला ने उस इस प्रकारन शांति पूर्वक वैसर हाकर कहा, माता संसारी का माता पिता जो अनित्या है, याथरथ माता पिता के भगवान गणेश्वर भी गए। ए जय जय गणपति, जय गणपति, जय गणेश गणपति। हरि बोल।
जय जय गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति
जय जय गणपति, जय 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 गणपति, जय गणपति, So devotees and friends, the mother went to her son when she heard that it was because of how the father have, punished her son. This is why he got sick like this. But she went to the son and she told, remember Ganesh Bhagwan have now installed an image of himself there in that part of the forest. So it's no longer a stone, but my dear friends, is an image of Sri Ganesh Bhagwan himself who was there. And so children of God, the mother went to her son and she said, son, your father is ailing at home and I would like you to speak to your Ganesha to cure your father. I would like you to pray to your Ganesha to help your father. But what the father did before he went into that state, he took the murti, my dear friends. Let us not concentrate too much on the child abuse that took place just yet. Let us concentrate on how some of us treat Bhagwan. How some of us treat God when we believe that, oh, I am so powerful, I am so rich, I am this, I am that. And we treat Bhagwan like this. My dear friends, once you turn your back on God, you have to come back at the feet of God one day. You could run as far as you want and you could attain as much as you want. Once you become hostile to God, you will fail one day and have to reach back at His feet. There is no doubt about it. And so, children of God, the mother starts begging the son now. My son, oh beta, please pray for your father. He said, I am your mother and I'm speaking to you. And these are the words of Ganesh Bhagwan now, my dear friends, telling to his mother. He said, Mata, he says, my mother and my father and my friend and my everything now is Sri Ganesh Ji. So I have no more mother, I have no more father, but my mother and father is of Sri Ganesh Bhagwan. And children of God, you will say, what a cruel child he is. But this takes us to a different point, a different level, my dear friends, of this whole katha. And it tells to us, Bhagwan speaks to us. And I take these words from Viveka Chudamani that is placed together by Swami Chinmayananda. And so it tells to us. It says a father may have himself deep into debts, owing and everything else, so up to his throat with debts. You see, and the sons and others could come and help him out of that financial problem. It says, my dear friends, however, to redeem himself from his delusion, there is none other than himself who have to do it. So this is the discussion taking place now. My father has committed his act, and there is no one. If there was some other financial issues or things like that, a son would have been able to help. But when you find yourself in your problems, that is what you have to face by yourself, your delusion, your illusion. You have to face that yourself. It says, one may have a heavy load, and he will be carrying that heavy load. Someone could come and help him out of that heavy load. You know, just like the executive of Durham Kiawaj have come and helped me out of the heavy load of just having the thing to arrange and to put all things together. Now I only come here and sit down and bring message. And they put me on their action log on their action log, as it is called, it for one action. But I want to ask them why they give me that. But I did it still, you know. Prem Sibolesri Ganesh Bhagwanaki. So someone will be able to help me out of the load that you are carrying. If you are carrying a heavy load, somebody will be able to help you out of that. But devotees and friends, you know, none can save one from the pains of hunger, from the prangs which comes from hunger. If you are hungry and I could eat the most delicious meal that is there in front of me, will that help your hunger? Would that help you and satisfy your hunger? No. You have to eat that food for yourself to satisfy your hunger. Third, he tells to us, he says, a patient who faithfully follows the right diet and takes the proper medication alone is perceived to recover from his illness. No one recovers from his illness because another person undergoes the treatment. You understand where Shankaracharya is carrying us? One, it's telling to us when we get ourselves in this delusion, when we get ourselves entangled in this karma reaction and action reaction, nobody can help us, but I myself have to lift myself out of that. My children can help me out of my financial situation, other situation. My children can help me buy a new car. I ain't telling all the children that I want a new car. Please don't think that. My little Chevy is going good. My dear friends, someone can help me out of the load that I'm carrying, the heavy bundle on my head. But nobody cannot eat the food for me. I have to eat what I have to eat. And it says again, the patients who faithfully follow the right diet and takes the proper medication alone to perceive or to recover from his illness. No one recovers because another person undergoes the treatment. And what is being said here really, my dear friends? These three verses, the Master is trying to drive home to the devotees that any amount of hearing, study, intellectual thinking, logical discussion cannot by themselves bring about liberation from our misconceptions and false evaluation in life. Devotees and friends, Atma Vidya is gained only when it has brought about a complete regeneration of the individual who practices it. And this is what this child was practicing. This child was practicing, my dear friends, to understand himself. And when you understand the self or Atma within us, you would know, my dear friends, that all will be treated just the same. I cannot take medication for you. All I could advise you, the doctor, and he made mention of that. He says the doctor could only recommend and give you the prescription. But the doctor cannot take the medication for you. You have to take the medication to feel well. So to children of God, the Guru, when you create your entanglement with your karma, the Guru cannot help you there. How the Guru is going to help you? You see, by the vibrations which Valalam got from the sage, the Swami, or he came first. I talked about last night Katha. We will hear of it later on. My dear friends, the vibrations of the saint bring you into a certain mode that will create your mind to be focused in a particular direction, and that direction is what is going to cure you. So all these miracles that we're talking about, that my dear friends, the old Brahmin, it says Ganesh Bhagwan came as the old Brahmin and loose him out. And you may say, Pandit, what a nice Nancy story you talk about. Haven't you not find yourself in a position at some given time, my dear friends, and you say, and this is the line we just say, what's the line, Dinesh? When God can come, He will send someone. Haven't you all, I think each and every one of us here in this Yajnashala this evening, at some point in time in our life, we have experienced something like that. Where we say, when God cannot come, He sends someone. So don't believe the old sadhu came there by mistake to help heal the boy, And so, devotees and friends, the son was very right when he spoke to his mother. He said, now Mata, my devotion have taken me to this point, that there is no mother now, there is no father, but everything here is Ganesha. And this is how we see life. How will you treat with that as you live your day-to-day life? Children of God, Pooja, how will you look at Daddy? When you reach to this stage and you say, well, look, Daddy is not my daddy again. You want Amrit turned upside down? Wait. Huh? Amrit got turned upside down. What you telling me? No. You must reach a point where your daddy is not your daddy, but your daddy is your God. That is the point we must reach. Where we must be able to see God into each and every one that we interact with. So he was not seeing father, he was not seeing mother anymore, but he was seeing God into all. And the universal law across the board, my dear friends, is that you perform your action, the reaction will come back to you, you have to pay for it. So devotees and friends, Expiry time is running on me right now, but I have to tell you all the next part of the katha. So the mother was very, very depressed. And because of her depressed state, the son then told to her, he says, "Mother, please listen. Let us listen also." Jai Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganapati, Jai Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Ganapati, Oh, Jai Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganapati, Jai Ganesh, Ganapati, Jai Jai Ganapati, Jai जय जय भगवान बल लाने उसी प्रकार शांति पूर्वक भेजती रहा कर कहा माता संसार का माता पिता तुम अनित्या है तथारता माता पिता ने भगवान गणेश ही है जिनकी मैंने शरण जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान जय श्री गणेश जय जय भगवान भगवान का निराधा करने के कारण पिताजी को ऐसे ढक्षाम प्रता हुए है जय श्री गणेश भगवान जय जय श्री गणेश भगवान राजा के कोई पुत्र यहाँ परिवारे जन नहीं था इसलिए प्रधान अमर आत्मने जय जय गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश जय गणपति जय जय गणपति जय गणपति जय गणेश हरि बोल come on जय जय गणपति जय गणपति जय जय गणपति जय गणपति Mother, for my father to get well once more, you will have in your next life, your name will be Kamala. Your name will be Kamala, and you will marry the king. You will marry the king, and that king and yourself will have a son. And that son will be my father. And that son name will be Taksh. Remember the katha last night? So devotees and friends, he told his mother, he says, yes, mother, you and your husband, the king, will have a son, and that son will be my father. And it is only from there would he be able to have salvation. So devotees and friends, it tells to us, Kamala, you know, and her husband's name was Vallavaraja, King Vallava. And the son, the father Kalyan came as the son now to Kamala. Remember, in the last life, that was his wife. But why it is, my dear friends, that the katha this evening showed to us that the father come as son. And my dear friends, if you remember last night katha, that son was born blind, he was born deaf, and he was born with the skin disease. And what happened? The father abandoned the child and the mother to go into the forest. So my dear friends, it is now to show to the father who is now the son, how would you feel when you are being disowned by your father? So he felt the pain that this son felt when he begged his father, "Hey Pitaji, save me, help me." And the father said, "No, I will not help you." He said, "Let your God help you." And I bring it back last night, Katha now. When the king and the queen Kamala was praying for this son to get well, the Lord did not listen at that time. And the father became so despondent because, my dear friends, karma have to take its course. Karma have to tie itself into the cycle. As I tell to you all, karma is a network. It's not what you alone do. The network is with everybody. So karma is a network. And my dear friends, that network is what will bring your pain and your suffering or your pleasure and your happiness. And so, the father has come to the son touch. And when, my dear friends, the king put out the mother, that was in such a way that the father will now pay his karma and get his liberation. So not every negative things you see happening to you, every setback in life is a setback. It is something put into motion to help you to see the better side of life. But because we don't treat it like that, and we continue to bring all the negative things and run all over the place and pay the $25,000 to the man to say that, okay, my brother do me that, or my sister do me that, or my neighbor do me that. And you're paying $25,000, my dear friend, some of them asking you sell your motor car too. And that is true. When one guy came to me, his wife running by me, because the guy told him, he said, "Sell your motor car and bring the $25,000, let me do what I have to do for you." And all it takes, my dear friends, Om Gam Ganapati Namaha. That's what it takes. Children of God, you have to go through your karma. The only thing to help brace your karma, and I always tell, if you are aware that flood water is coming to your home and it is coming at 5 feet high, will you build a 2 feet wall? Children of God, talk to me. If flood is coming to your house 5 feet high and you have the opportunity to build a wall, will you build a 2 feet wall? No, my dear friends, you cannot. You have to build a wall 6 feet. You know, and this is what we all have to accept. I have done wrong. And none of us here tonight can say that at some given point in our life, we didn't do anything wrong. Ganesh, you did anything wrong? Sanjana, you ever do anything wrong? You're a young child. Rajiv, how much wrong you did, son? not do nothing wrong yet. Marshall, with Ohasim, have you done anything wrong for Vashti to get angry yet? Oh, all right, good boy. So, my dear friends, from the young to the old, we have done something that will bring a negative reaction to us. And mind you, let us not be naive. Every action that you perform brings an equal and opposite reaction according to the physician. The physicist, Newton, says every action brings equal and opposite reaction. The sociologist says what life is like a looking glass. What you place into the mirror will be reflected back to you. And the law of karma tells to us every action have an assigned result. Our loving brothers and sisters of the Christian faith tells to us the seed that you plant will be the fruit that you will have to reap and partake of. So don't plant pepper and expect to get tomatoes. So anywhere you go, my dear friends, that law is across the board. But so many of us believe that I could do the wicked things and God could bless me all the time. Well, God don't be there with a magic wand. It's you have to create the one. You have to create it with your actions. And my dear friends, we all know that we have done something wrong sometime in our life. Let us start building a wall. And what is that wall? That wall is the bhakti. That wall is our devotion. That wall is how much we dedicate ourselves to God, no matter what name of God or how you worship God. Whenever you worship God, whether you go to the church, the mosque, or the mandir, my dear friends, when you worship God, you're building that divine wall to help when these negative reactions coming back. It will bounce on the wall and it will go back. Because you cannot stop the reaction, Cannot. But you could build a wall. You could build a shield. The bank of the dam is burst and the water is coming to your house. You cannot change that gush of water that is coming, but you could build a wall to help move it away. So too, my dear friends, the reactions that we do, stop now. Be a true Harijan. Accept that I have done wrong. And this is something that the human mind cannot do. The human mind cannot accept the wrong that we have done. I'm telling to you, my dear friends, the only way to correct your wrong is to accept it. Own it. And if you own it, you will be able to correct it. But what happens? We do the wrong and we continue to justify the wrong as it is right. Then you will never correct it and you will continue to entangle yourself again and again and again into this cycle of birth and death, pain and suffering. This child, Valala, the katha may have sound like it is a fairy tale, but my dear friends, if you follow the reality of the katha, that is how you can be cured. Your mind of hate, anger, greed. My dear friends, hate, anger, and greed. This is your blindness. This is your death, being deaf. And this is your disease. Let's take anger. When you become angry, you don't hear nothing and nobody. Not so, Sita? When you get angry, you don't hear nobody. So you become deaf. Greed. My dear friends, when greed comes in, that uncontrollable desire for that object, what you may call obsession, you become so diseased. that there is no peace in your life. What I told you, greed, anger, huh? No, I told you 3 things send you to hell. I called that 3 just now. Hey, so if I call somebody tonight, we're in trouble. Hate, anger, greed. My dear friends, when you hate something, when you don't like something, you'll always try to move away, so you become blind to it. And it may be the best thing for you. You know, like some people, they hate, my dear friends, to hear the music. They hate to hear the words of Sanatan Dhara. So they do otherwise. So they become blind. They become blind to what is happening. So my dear friends, the vices that we hold on to, the hate, the anger, the jealousy, the pride, the malice, the backbiting, the backstabbing, the backtalking, this, my dear friends, is the disease. It tells us in Kali Yuga Mahima Katha, when the 7 questions were answered by Kakusuti to Garud, what are the diseases of the mind? He said jealousy is like the leprosy on the skin. You know, when you have this skin disease, we just have a little thing now, and you keep scratching and itching and it's not comfortable. When you have jealousy on your mind, my dear friends, you don't rest enough. You're very uneasy, just like when you have a skin disease. So my dear friends, these are the things, yes, I know the time is going. These are the things, my dear friends, that is the disease that we talk about. This is the blindness. This is the deafness. When you want something, when you're greedy and you want it, the greed overtake you, that desire comes, you don't care who you hurt in the process of getting it. You just want to get it. Everybody else go. Devotees and friends, tell me, isn't that blindness? When you don't have a conscience, how you treat other people. When you don't have your conscience. And I want to tell to you, when you don't have that conscience and you don't act with your conscience, you're weighed down to the ankle. The next place you're going is under your foot and you'll trample on your own life. Prem Samale Sri Ganesh Bhagwan Ki Jai. Devotees and friends, this brings me to the end of our discourse this evening. I am very happy to see so many of my devotees from very long time back. You know, I cannot remember when last La Remain lady come to a satsang of mine. We always go on she side, but she come on our side today. I think since they build their own temple down on that side in La Fortune, you know, she don't come by we side, she just remain home. But today she make a time and come, so thank you very much, La Remain lady. And so my dear friends, all, you know, when I spoke to Omar, and he told me, he say, I sit down home and doing my offering with grandma. I didn't expect him to see you, and I was so happy when I see you reach. You know, because when we see these people, these older folks, my dear friends, it brings joy in our heart to know that they still have that energy to come to satsang. But we have so much of young people sit down in the house and viewing we on Pandit Vishnu live, and they want to come to the satsang. Prem Samale Shri Ramchandra Bhagavan Ki. So now we'll have the offering of the coconuts and arti. And that's how we're going now. Please stand, everyone. You good there? Right, everybody hold the coconut and pray now. We'll be cracking the coconut at the back. There is a stone in the basin there. And then you come up to the murtis. And I want to tell everybody, you don't have to do arti to the three murtis. They are all the same clay from Abel. And they're made by the same man, Shankarji. And there's the same Ganesh. Don't mind, they have a different form. So you come into one of the Ganesh, you do your arti, and you go back. Right? So that we can get everybody doing arti within 10 minutes. Samukascha ekadatascha kapilo gajkarnakam lambodarasacha vikto viganasho ganadipatiye namaha om dhumraketu ganayaksho balachandro gajyanaham dvadeshatani namami yatsrinodayapim vedyarape vivahe cha pravishe nirgame tatham sangrami sankate chay evam Vignamatasya na jayate. Om Shri Ganesh Bhagwan ki jai. Ganesh Bhagwan ki jai. Start cracking the coconuts now. Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha, Jai Ganesha Deva. Mata Tero Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Mata Tero
तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेवा माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेवा
लद्दुवन का भोग लागे संत कर सेवा जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश
देवा जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेवा माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेवा जय गणेश देवा माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेवा माता तेरो पार्वती पिता महादेवा
लद्दुवन का भोग लागे संत कर सेवा लद्दुवन का भोग लागे संत कर सेवा जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा माता तेरो पार्वती पिता बाबा मोरया।
गं गणपतये नमो नमः श्री विनायक नमो नमः अष्टविनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाप्पा मोरया
गणपतिये नमो नमः सिद्धिविनायक नमो नमः अष्टविनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाबा मोरया।
ॐ गं गणपतये नमो नमः श्री विनायक नमो नमः अष्टविनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाप्पा मोरया गणपतये नमो नमः श्री विनायक नमो नमः अष्टविनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाप्पा मोरया गं गणपतये नमो नमः श्री विनायक नमो नमः अष्टविनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाप्पा मोरया नमो नमः श्री विनायक नमो नमः अष्टविनायक नमो नमः गणपति बाप्पा मोरया जय 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 गणपति देवा जय गणपति देवा जय 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 गणपति देवा जय 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 गणपति देवा गजानना हे गजानना गजानना हे गजानना गजानना हे गजानना गजानना हे गजानना गजानना हे गणपति देवा गजानना हे गणपति देवा जय 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 गणपति देवा जय 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 गणपति देवा माता पार्वती पिता महादेवा माता पार्वती पिता महादेवा माता पार्वती पिता महादेवा माता पार्वती पिता महादेवा गजानना हे गणपति देवा गजानना हे गणपति देवा गजानना हे गणपति देवा गजानना हे गणपति देवा मोरया रे बाप्पा मोरया रे मोरया रे बाप्पा मोरया रे मोरया रे बाप्पा मोरया रे
मोरया रे बापा मोरया रे
मोरया रे बाप्पा मोरया रे
मोरया रे बापा मोरया रे
मोरया रे बाप्पा मोरया रे
मोरया रे बापा मोरया रे
मोरया रे बाप्पा मोरया रे
मोरया रे बापा मोरया रे
मोरया रे बाप्पा मोरया रे
मोरया रे बापा मोरया रे
मोरया रे बाप्पा मोरया
Asato ma satgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityorama Amritam Gamaya. Oh Bhagwan Ganesh, this evening we ask of you, help us to build those walls so that when the reaction should come back, when the flood should come back to our lives, that we will be able to withstand and ward away those negative things. Oh Sri Ganesh, today we ask of you, help us to remove anger, to remove hate, to remove greed, to remove jealousy, so that we will have a very successful life ahead. Dear Lord, please help us. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sikha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. All together. Om Gam Ganapati Namaha. Om Gam Ganapati Namaha. Om Gam Ganapati Namaha. Om Gam Ganapati Namaha. Ganesh Bhagwan ki, Shankar Bhagwan ki, Parvati Devi Mata ki, Sanatan Dharma ki, Om Sri Guru Devata ki, Jai Jai Sitaram. All please have your seat. Arti Prasad will come to you. And we have a light refreshment for you all this evening. You know, it's take away a little refreshment. Please partake of the refreshment. Just remain as they will meet you with those refreshments. Prem se bole Shri Ram Chandra Bhagavan ki Jai.